All right, everyone, if I could have your attention. Today is Monday, April 1st, 2019. This is the Springhaven Board of Commissioners meeting. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask everyone who can to please stand, remove your hats, turn and face the flag, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item I have on my agenda is the minutes of the board meeting from March 2nd. Everyone had a chance to look over them, any changes that need to be made. If not, I'll accept a motion to approve as written.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from March the 2nd. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The next item on the agenda is the meeting of the board, minutes of the board meeting from March the 4th, 2019. Any changes that need to be made or a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion passes. Next item I have on my agenda is Tammy Bissett from the Nash County Senior System Center. Is she here this evening?
Yes.
Ms. Tammy, you'd like to address the board this evening?
Yes, just very quickly, I wanted to introduce myself and make you all aware of the new Southern Nash Senior Center, if you're not already aware. My name is Katie Bissett, and I'm the supervisor. The Senior Center opened on March 8th during our ribbon cutting ceremony, had a tremendous turnout. We're located at 8180 Stony Hill Church Road in Bailey. If you have not had a chance to stop by, I invite all of you to please stop by. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful facility, big deal for Southern Nash County. And I just wanted to make you all aware and invite you over to take a look. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay. The next person I have on public forum is April Baker. Is she here? I must have scared her out. That moves us to the next item under public hearing of new business, which is recognition and thanks to the American Legion in honor of Reg Mullen for the American flag donation.
We have Chester Bradley here with the American Legion Bester Wheelers Post 91. He'd like to have a few words to say in regards to the project.
Okay, first of all, I want to, since I'm representing the Legion, I want to read out all the members. Larry Bass, better known as Leon. Matthew Bass, Milton D. Bass, better known as Dickie. Paul Gully Bass, Robert Lee Bass, Adolphus Baxter, W.T. Brantley Jr., Isaac Dollar, Lynn Irwin, Wayne Kelvin, Luther Matthews Jr., Zeno Winley, and J.C. Walker. Our club was formed somewhere around 1937. That's as far back as I can find any record. We had, when I got in it in 1976, along with Dickie and Leon and several others, Reg, we had a whole lot of members. Right now, we're down to these 14 that I just listed. Reg has been our commander since 1978. he called me and talked to me about a project that he had talked to Clarice Visit, Janet Visit, and Dale Knocker about going around and looking at all the light poles, finding out how many brackets, poles, and flags we needed to replace them. Before Reg could get the information to get it to me, he unfortunately passed away. That left the rest of us to decide what to do. So I got the information from Clarice in January, I think it was, or early February. Presented it to the members that were present at the meeting. We voted, and this was a passionate project of Reg Mullen. He had it on his mind, and the allegiance to buy these flags, poles, and brackets. So that's exactly what we voted to do, is to buy them all. I read something several months ago, and I wrote it down, and I don't know why I wrote it down, but I did. And I'm gonna quote most of it. I'm gonna change a name or two in it, but I'm gonna read it to you. And I quote, "The American Legion core pillars include honoring our veterans, military members, and giving back to our communities. And there are few better ways to accomplish both tasks than to fund the purchase of these flags. We appreciate Commander Reginald Oris Mullen Jr.'s service to our country and are proud to help his legacy live on." End of quote. Reg was a good friend of mine, and I miss him dearly. It's good for his family to be here. I appreciate him being here. But before I conclude, I want to pitch a little bit for all the veterans that are here, all the veterans, all the people that you know. If you would, please consider joining our Vestal Witness Post 91. The National American Legion is considering disbanding all Legion posts with less than 18 members. We're stuck with 14 right now. Hopefully we can get some more members, keep our post going. Thank you very much. Contact me or Isaac Dollar in Momar, Leon, Dickie, any of the members of the American Legion Post right now. We'll get you signed up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chester.
So, in recognition of the donation and honor for the American Legion Post, the town of Springdale would like to present a plaque honoring the group. Jim, if you'd like to come up front.
Ramon, we have this plaque from the citizens of Springdale for your father. You also have a plaque we're going to permanently attach here in the town hall in his memory and in thanks to his service. Thank you. Now, if the board members would go come around too for a picture.
Give your best smile.
Someone had to squeeze in.
It's just too many.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. My dad grew up here, lived his whole life here. He loved the town. sorry. You love everybody here. It means a lot that you were able to finish things up. You know, y'all were such good friends, growing up, even from little kids, you know. He would have wanted you to, so, thank y'all very much, and I grew up here too, so this town means more to me. It'll always be my home, no matter what. So, thank y'all.
Chester, come up with Representative Legion.
And we will be mounting this flag in the town hall. So, thank you. Oh, no, good work. So the next item on our agenda is action on the waste industry's request for an increase for recycling and CPI.
Good evening, everybody. Pat Luce, I'm the government contract manager with Waste Industries. I also have Crystal Sloan. She's the general manager at the Chinese branch where the services to this account out of. We went over a lot of the stuff last week. Mr. Kim also passed out some more bullet points for you guys to consider. And instead of going over everything again, if you have any questions on that, I'd be more than happy to answer those. One of the things that you guys had asked for was to have the CPI request done at the same time as the request for the recycling increase. So was a letter sent out. The current rate under the CPI was 4.9% increase. We're asking for a 3% increase to try to keep the cost down just a little bit. We did not ask for an increase last year at all, so we're requesting a 3% increase on the CPI this year. Were there any questions that have come up since the last time we spoke about this? Okay. All right, thank you.
Any action or a motion you want to take on this request? Jay, I'm just gonna, my comments, this isn't for now, right now, is it? This is-
No, the CPI index would start July 1. But I believe that the request for the recycling would start earlier, would start the.
Right, actually, we're starting to be charged for the recycling processing ourselves in March.
She's gonna start in March, they're gonna start in March.
Well, they're already receiving the additional cost for doing the recycling. They have not passed it on to us because we have to approve any kind of increases. So on their end, they're already being hit with the recycling costs from
We're not-
contract,
Yeah,
right?
we're not looking to back bill you from March first.
The recycling processors are charging per ton for us to bring it to them now. Some of the bullet points might help you kind of understand how we got to this point, how recycling has gotten to this point. We don't believe that the recycling landscape is going to change. It could be a worse situation as we go on. As some of the bullet points say, this has been going on, well, coming to this point for about a year and a half. China put limits on contamination that was coming into their country from all the loads of recycling. That's been a major problem. And then as of January 1st, they actually stopped all exports coming into China with any recycling. So what we have is a major backup of material all over the country and all over the world, actually. I think most of the recycling around the world was going through China. And so like I mentioned, they've essentially closed the doors. So what's happening is, and going forward, what's very important is not contaminating recycling. We have to keep it clean so there's a market for it. Recycling still remains a good option because what you're doing is you're keeping the trash out of the landfill. But it will be important, as I mentioned, to make sure that the residents, and we can provide some information, some visuals, so people know what is acceptable in the recycle bin and what is not. So it's a new challenge that we don't believe is going to go away. Some of those bullet points might help you too a little bit, expand on it just a little bit more.
Are they in line with, have you checked anybody else?
So, I spoke with, I believe Mayor Lou Harvey. They have gone up on the CPI index for 3% for them. And then for recycling, I believe they accepted.
Yeah, it all depends on how much tons of recycling you actually have. Every
Right.
town has different amount of residents living there. We took the 12-month average of the tonnage that you were producing, and that's how we came up with what was needed to increase.
But for
per
Middlesex, per their contract, I believe they are going
Yeah,
up on the
every
recycling.
town that we service has accepted the recycling increase, including Bailey and Middlesex.
So Bailey has accepted it?
Yes. They accepted the recycle increase, yes.
Okay.
We haven't had anyone at this point, not after they reviewed the information on, you know, so.
So they're two separate requests. One is for the CPI index, the consumer price index, which will start July 1 at the new fiscal year.
Okay.
And they're requesting only 3% for their contract increase on that. The recycling, I believe, for us was
34?
34 cents
34 cents per
per account.
Per container.
Per
yes,
container.
container per month.
Yes.
So we have bins, we have the smaller bins as
Right.
opposed to the 90 gallons, so each household basically would be charged only 34 cents, correct? Each
Yes.
account,
Right,
each account.
yes.
Okay.
Is that in line with the anniversary of the contract? I understand the CPI.
Right, I don't have the contract in front of me on
The
it.
recycling increase was something that we didn't see coming. Well, we saw it coming over. I had mentioned it to Jay probably last year that, hey, there's the recycling market is changing. We weren't sure what was going to happen or how fast it was going to happen. It may or may not be. I believe that the contract, I think, was it July or August? I believe it was August.
It might have been on.
It better,
I
I'm
don't
taking
know.
over. Okay.
Can't recall.
Remind me what the fee is currently, so what the 3% equate to on the CPI for the regular garbage.
What's our monthly,
We have it here, can you?
you,
The all-in rate currently is,
That's the new.
okay. The current rate is $13.24. With both of those increases, it would go to $13.97. That includes trash and recycling.
do you recall what? is it around 8,000 or 7,000 for Waste Industries per month?
Oh,
So that's,
82.
8,200, it's around $8,200 a month right now with our contract with Waste Industries.
so the 70, go to 1397 would be the 3% CPI
Plus the
and the
recycling.
34 cent
Yes, sir.
per account. So that would be 73 cent per account more per month,
Okay, yeah, I mean,
which is
the recycling increase itself,
$8.76 per account for a year, right? So the cost of citizen,
Oh,
$8.76 over the course of the year. And that's my math is wrong. 73 cents times 12 months.
yeah, that's right.
Do you need a motion from the board to accept this, do you know?
If the board has options to either decline, accept, or table the item this evening, or you can decide on one or the other, or both.
And that price holds for 12 months.
yes, sir.
I just want to fill out the contract, but you don't have to add your name to the contract. The contract states, if I'm not mistaken, that it can request an increase, and the contracts.
It does. It also says that if there's a increase in some type of processing, or let's say the landfill goes up or something like that, we have to request that, right?
July 1st. I make a motion that we accept the CPI and the recycling increase effective July 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the CPI and the recycling increase cost effective July 1st. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. That motion passes.
Thank you guys for your consideration.
Thank you. The next item I have on my agenda is to consider action to reapprove the site plan for the special use permit for the solar generation facility.
So Ecoplexus, we have representatives, Forrest and Melvin here tonight to answer any questions. The SUP was approved by this board back on November 2013. Again, the SUP runs with the land, but at that time, they did not start the process of the project. There wasn't a zoning permit that was issued, which they can apply for that at any point. They did provide us with, that is in your packet, a copy of the site plan. And in my conversations with Ecoplexus, there were no changes at all to the site plan. It's the same to the original site plan that the board approved in 2013. So I'm asking for basically, if the board wishes, just a simple reapproval of the original site plan. And then when they are ready to proceed, they can submit a zoning permit as well. And again, I've added a copy of the aerial so you can see where the Upchurch property is in town.
This is the Upchurch Hall.
Yes, highlighted in blue. And unfortunately, we had a rough copy, original copy of the original site plan. I did make a notation of it that was from the 2013 application. And then the following page is a cleaner copy that I received from Ecoplexis this year.
I have an action or motion from this board.
I make a motion that we accept the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to reapprove the site plan, special use permit for Ecoplexis. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Next item on my agenda is the Chamber of Commerce update.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to talk about the license plate agency. The Department of Motor Vehicles has informed us that they have moved up the opening date to April 16th. That's on a Tuesday. Seems to be a problem with a dedicated cable connection. That seems to be the heart of the problem. We also have a grand opening on April the 3rd, this Wednesday at 12 noon for Millennia Patient Services. This is something we've been trying to do for the past 2 months, and the weather has not cooperated, so I think this Wednesday is going to actually happen. And I would also like to comment on the license plate agency, that our personnel that we have that are in class have been in class for the past 2 weeks, and they're finishing their class this week. When I talked with our manager, Tim Johnson, I asked him how they were doing, and he said, well, you know, there are some other people in the class from Raleigh, and he said, we've been out testing everybody else in the class. They have to make at least an 85 on their test, and our lowest score today was 92. And he said we were out testing all the other people that were in the class, so I was very proud to hear that and confirm what we believed when we hired these people. Do y'all have any other questions?
Do you know the time of the grand opening?
At 12 noon at Millennia Patient Services. And that's in the old Double Dog factory.
Placement services.
Patient.
Patient.
I think they're actually considering changing the name to just Millennia. Because it's kind of a mouthful.
Tell me again when the plate agency's open.
They've told us April the 16th. That's on Tuesday.
And how many do you have employed over there? Do you have?
1 full-time and 2 part-time.
In addition to Tim?
No, he's the full-time. Tim is the full-time. He's the manager. He'll be full-time. And this is the old South Side Pharmacy location. We had business after hours last month and missed some of you guys there. It was, I think it went over pretty well. They had a chance to actually talk with Tim and Johnson. But I actually spoke with my contact at DMV today just to make sure that there have not been any updates, and this is the latest and greatest.
Have you signed up out front then?
I'm sorry?
Have you signed up out front?
Not yet. That should be going up this week, though.
What are your hours going to be?
I don't know yet. That's something we have to nail down with Tim. But we are allowed by the state to open between 8 and 5. I think what we're probably going to be shooting for is like 9 to 5. You don't have to be open from 8 to 5, but you can be open anytime within that period. And have maybe like an hour lunch break. That's just tentative right now,
Every weekend.
every weekday, yes. And they'll be closed like all other, state departments, when they're, have their special holidays.
Well, as time permits, if the business pick up, y'all be able to employ more people?
We hope so,
That's what I'm saying.
we hope so,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know anything about the, food banks when you come in?
I know absolutely nothing about that. The only information I've gotten was what was in the Southern National News. That I saw, they had a front page article on that, and, that's all I've heard about it. I think,
I've got a brief information from the manager.
What about Alan, any update on the lights, change to 6 to 4 and 5?
Jay has an update on that too, yeah. I was curious about that also.
Working your night on it.
Yeah. And Jay has kept me in the loop on that too, so.
Anything else?
I just want to tell them good work on the LPA.
Oh,
To the
thank you.
chamber, to the chamber, as a group.
Well,
I know,
yeah, I tell you, it's been a real team effort. I've gotten a lot of help with the board.
I
People on the
know
board.
there's been other people who've tried to claim credit, but
Yeah.
we know that the chamber
I'll,
will be the main one.
special recognition to Claire Spizik. She's been really putting in a lot also. Not that the others haven't too, but she especially.
Well, thank you.
Next item on my agenda, town attorney.
Everything I have is for the closed session at the end, so nothing right now.
Brings up environment.
Good evening, everyone. We got the monthly activity report for March. Under activities, significant meetings with town issues, number one, we're gonna be receiving quotes from Underwood, for the gearbox, for the ball screen at the wastewater treatment plant. Number two, the work for the automatic transfer switch on generator one, is scheduled for Wednesday, April 3rd, and it will be completed by the end of the day. And with my extensive background in solar power, I will probably be on site to ensure everything goes smoothly with that during process. Number three, there's an automatic transfer switch for generator two. It needs a blower control rewired. We'll be receiving quotes from Underwood on that also. And we're in talks with Custom Controls out of Raleigh. There needs to be an inspection scheduled and performed for the auto dial equipment status on all the stations. The second page, under your work order summary, there was 104 work orders completed in March. Following the summary, we read 860 meters. There were 63 rereads. There were 8 meter turn-ons, 2 turn-offs, 3 locates, 4 water leak checks, 4 yard waste pickups for the entire town, 4 trash can deliveries, 3 sewer service line backup calls, 3 lift station alarm responses, 1 water system flushing for the entire town, 3 cemetery meetings, 5 miscellaneous work orders. Under other activities, the leaves and limb pickup for April, the dates will be the 3rd, 4th, 17th, and 18th. Moving on to operations, for your water customers, there were 762 bills generated, 860 meters read, 63 rereads, 2 shut-offs, 8 turn-ons. For your water sold, the current month is 2.61 million gallons. Previous was 2.36 for year-to-date of 24.07 million gallons. There was 0.91 million gallons of flushing leaks, non-good use. For your water produced from your wells, the current month, 3.52 million gallons. 2.75 million gallons for the previous month, year-to-date, 30.9 million gallons. for your wastewater flow, it was metered 7.31 million gallons for the current, previous 7.95, year-to-date 51.51 million gallons. And there was also 5.8 inches of rain the past month. I tried to deal with this past week. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Do you have any questions for Brian?
Okay, appreciate it.
Next item on my agenda is the police chief's report.
The month of March, we had two DWIs back to back on the second and third. Officer Wilson arrested both Gregory Winston of Spring Hope and Leslie Harrison of Bailey. We did have an attempt at breaking and entering, damaged the property at 207 South Pine Street, and that remains under investigation. Mr. Harsha Glasgow was arrested for second-degree trespass at 118 Northside. Because of her history of arrest, she was placed under a $6,000 secure bond. Officer Radford initiated a vehicle stop. Probable cause search of the vehicle was conducted, and canine jacks indicated on the presence of narcotics. Less than a half an ounce of marijuana was located. Officer Bell initiated a traffic stop. Probable cause search was conducted, and less than a half an ounce of marijuana was located. Citation was issued. Officer Bell initiated another vehicle stop. Probable cause search was conducted, and Gregory Curry of Wilson was issued a citation for possession of marijuana, driving while license revoked, and concealed carry of a weapon. While conducting a checkpoint, individual came through. She was issued a citation after probable cause search revealed marijuana. Officer Bell initiated a vehicle stop, formed the opinion that Lisa Curie of Spring Hope was intoxicated, and she was arrested for DWI. That's pretty much all of the incidents we had this month. What I want to talk about tonight too, especially though, is dementia and Alzheimer's. I think everybody knows somebody with dementia, somebody knows somebody with Alzheimer's or some cognitive impairment. We had a 70-year-old male come to the police department last Friday, and he was looking at his wife. His wife had left him a note, said she was going to the hairdresser. She left at 9:24. Her hairdresser's in Spring Hope. Through the investigation, and just so you know, OnStar would not release to him the location of his vehicle. He had to get involved. But the investigation revealed, we found out that she was in Chapel Hill. She had driven from Spring Hope area all the way to Chapel Hill. We found her, we sent Chapel Hill Police Crisis Assessment Team over there, and they sat with her until her husband got there. We've had right many cases in Nash County over the last month of Alzheimer's and dementia and people walking away from home. So with that being said, I'm in conversation with the Nash County Senior Center and I may mispronounce this, but Amidas Hospice to try to put on some training for the public, to advise the public of resources that are out there for caretakers. Many times when somebody becomes a caretaker with somebody with dementia, they don't have medical training, and they don't have the necessary skills and knowledge to take care of an individual with those symptoms. So that may be a little while down the road, but Nash County Senior Center has agreed to do a presentation for the council within the next few months at one of the council meetings. And once we get the date, we'll announce the date and hopefully invite the public. But I think this is something that is near and dear to our hearts, and we need this to mind. And we need to get it out there. So we are working on providing some training for this, for the public. And I did want to announce that. I know that they have Project Lifesaver. Project Lifesaver is a very good program, but the way this works is the participant wears a bracelet, and some of the men folk will not wear jewelry and wear a bracelet, so that is an issue. But she's going to talk about this and some other resources that are available to the public. So we're hoping to get that ball rolling shortly.
Do you have any questions for the chief? Thank you. Next item on my agenda is the manager's report.
The first item I have on the report is the CMAC sidewalk project update. We've received a local agreement between the town and NCDOT. Town's attorney, Mark Edwards, has reviewed it and is ready for the mayor to sign afterwards. The agreement is 22 pages long. If the board wishes to have a digital copy of that, I can email that to you. Right now, we are in the process of compiling an RFQ to go out to bid for engineering services at this point in mid-April. For the land use plan update, I believe that I attached a copy of a survey in your board packets. Right now, we have over 50 responses. And again, we're working with the COG through this update, again, for the purpose of updating the guide for our future growth and development. And the survey is centered around questions about the community and associated land use issues. And we are still in the process of trying to get additional folks to fill out that survey, either through social media, the town's website, and also the local media as well, for articles that they may write in the local paper to let people know about this. And I know that for some of the papers, they're putting it in their community sections of their papers, letting residents know. For the business updates, that April Baker, she was listed on the agenda earlier. For whatever reason, she's not here. She is one of the new businesses here in town. It's a local food pantry. The town did approve a zoning permit for them to occupy the former Lowe's grocery store. The name of the nonprofit, they are a 501c3, A Touch of the Father's Love, Inc. And again, they will be stored in the larger section of that shopping center in the former Lowe's grocery store. At this point, they're going through the process of working with Nash County inspections. They've had the roof repaired at the facility by the management company. And there's not an official open date yet, but in conversations with them, they process over 1 million pounds of food a year. So it's a large organization group for the food pantry. And that's it.
Anybody have any questions for the manager?
You said you knew something about the, Alan said you knew something about the lights.
Oh, it's the LED lights. So after a conversation, I hadn't heard from Rick Whitaker in a while, and I reached out to him. He did say that, again, he put in the request. I know that initially it sounded like there was something they were going to start in early February, but he said it would start shortly, is the message I got at this point. So I'm expecting something to happen within the next couple of weeks, but I will follow up with him if I don't see anything at this point.
Anybody else have any questions for the manager? All right, the next item I have on my agenda is a request for a closed session pursuant to a consult with attorney to protect the attorney-client privilege.
For what additional purpose? Land, personnel, to meet the, under the exemptions.
Need a potential litigation. Potential litigation.
So I'll need,
Make a motion, we go in closed session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. There's no further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. We're not closed session.
I don't think it'll last long if you want to stick around.